Spending hours on a video only for it to get no views can be extremely frustrating and demotivating. Sometimes it's not even necessarily because the content itself is bad. It could be the packaging, meaning the title and thumbnail, or maybe the algorithm just couldn't identify an audience for your video, so you just aren't getting any impressions. If the reason you're not getting views is the packaging, then it could obviously be an easy fix. I have seen many examples from other creators where a simple title change completely revived the video that had otherwise died. And this is also true for thumbnails. The easiest way to see if the problem of your video is the packaging or the topic is by simply looking at the video's statistics. If the click-through rate is bad, but the people who actually click watch most of your video, there's a high likelihood that the packaging is the main issue. If your average watch time is slow, on the other hand, it is a much harder issue to fix. It is an indicator that either the video was bad or it didn't live up to the expectations that the title and thumbnail set. But this is all stuff you have probably heard before. Changing titles or thumbnails can work, sure, but sometimes it will also do literally nothing. Sometimes the issue is that your videos just aren't getting any impressions, and if that's the case, it is likely because the topic of the video is bad and the algorithm doesn't really know what to do with your video or who to recommend it to. When the topic of the video isn't great, the reality is that the video might just be dead and there's nothing you can do to really start gaining any traction to that specific video. It sucks, but that is part of the YouTube game. At that point, the only thing you can do is to put your time and mental energy into making your next video instead. But to avoid ending up with the exact same results for your next video, it's important to make some adjustments if you want to actually start getting some views. And usually it starts with trying to find better topics for your videos. One big mistake that I still do sometimes to this day is to just randomly think of a video idea and then just do it. Now, why is this a problem, you might ask? Well, because I often think of these pretty obscure video ideas that there might not really even be an audience for. As an example, recently I had this idea of making a video where I would just be mining diamonds the entire video and giving financial advice while I did. In my head, I thought this was a great video idea, or at least it was somewhat fun, but halfway through editing it, I realized it was just kind of boring. And even worse than that, I couldn't answer the one simple question: who is this video for? I still have no idea, really. And that is really bad. Coming up with random video ideas, even if they sound cool to you, usually don't do well on YouTube unless that video idea has already been done successfully before. Now, to avoid ending up in a situation where you spend a lot of time on a video idea that might not really work, before you start working on it, you should ask yourself, who is your audience and what other videos have they likely watched from other creators? If you ask me that question for my mining diamonds finance video, I wouldn't really be able to give you a good answer. But if you ask me for a video like this one, it would be much easier. How I got monetized on YouTube in 1 month after failing for 5 years. Monetization on YouTube is something a lot of people struggle with, which is why that topic is inherently interesting. It's also something that a lot of other creators talk about, so it's not exactly a unique video, but the actual content inside of that video is a unique perspective on it, because it's just my own story. The video itself is not perfect. There are actually a few parts of it, especially towards the end, that I wish I had explained a bit better or cut out entirely. But because the topic of the video was good and the start of the video was decent, it ended up getting a good amount of views anyway. So the topic of a video is obviously really important, but it sounds a lot easier in theory than it often is in practice. I mean, I have been making videos for years, but I still sometimes come up with some of the dumbest video ideas ever. One thing that I have gotten a lot better at, though, is killing ideas that are too big. And I think this is really important if you're a small YouTuber. I used to make this mistake of making these big passion projects. You know, videos that would take me weeks or sometimes months to make. I would do this without having any clue if it would actually get any views or not. And when it didn't work out, I would blame the algorithm. Back then, I simply thought that I was unlucky, but I no longer think that's the case. In reality, I was just doing a lot of stuff wrong. Anyway, the point is that when I spent weeks on a video only for it to completely flop, that felt extremely demotivating every single time. And there were many times where I almost quit completely because of it. Demotivation is the #1 reason people quit. If your long-term goal is making a living or getting an audience on YouTube, your #1 priority should simply be to not quit, because that is the only way you actually fail on YouTube. This is why I would advise against making big videos in the beginning. If you just spend a couple of days instead of weeks on a video, it won't feel as devastating if the video fails. And if you're new to making content, you kind of have to fail a lot before you can actually start making good videos. This doesn't mean that you should intentionally start making bad videos or aim to do it. Quite the opposite, actually. You should start figuring out how to make good videos while spending less time on them. If you're someone who spends a lot of time on video editing or planning your videos, there's probably a lot of stuff you can cut from that process that you might not even realize. Like maybe music isn't actually that important for your videos, or maybe you spend a lot of time finding a bunch of different meme footage that you can overlay on your videos, and sometimes that doesn't really help tell the story you're trying to tell. A lot of these small effects that add up a lot of time is sometimes a bit unnecessary for the overall viewing experience. Of course, that is not always the case, but very often I have found that there's actually a lot of stuff I can cut and it doesn't really hurt my viewer retention or anything else. Some people, of course, have the opposite problem, where they spend too little time actually making the video. Making any type of long-form video worth watching always takes a bit of time. There is no way around that unless you outsource most of your production. I think this video here took me 5 to 6 hours to create in total, which if you have seen this video might seem like a lot to you, because this video is barely edited at all. But most of that time went into figuring out exactly what I should say in the video and cutting out any of the mistakes from the audio file. So even in niches like mine that are on the surface level kinda easy to create content for, there's still a lot of hours of works behind the scenes that you just don't see. The point is that making good videos does take some time, but it doesn't have to take multiple weeks. You shouldn't obsess over every little detail in your YouTube videos, because there just isn't time for that. You should just aim for it to be good enough for people to want to watch it, and you should be giving them a reason to watch it in the first place by picking a good topic. Now, even if you don't spend weeks on a video, it'll obviously still not feel great to get no views at all, but it is way less devastating than watching a highly produced video flop. So yeah, if your last video got no views, go look at your stats and figure out if it was the packaging or the topic that failed. If it was the packaging, you might still be able to save it. If it was the topic, you should probably let that video go and put your energy into the next one instead. Ask yourself who the video is actually for before making it, and don't make it so big that a flop ruins your motivation. Like I said earlier, quitting is the only real way to fail at this. By the way, if you're looking for that diamond mining video on my channel and wondering where it is, I actually unlisted it for now. Usually I don't recommend doing that, but it didn't fit on my channel at all and I didn't really like it. And yes, you can safely unlist a video, it won't hurt your channel. The thing you should avoid is deleting a video, because in some cases that can hurt how much YouTube trusts your account. Anyway, that's all I had to say for today. If you found it useful, please consider clicking all the buttons, subscribing, liking, whatever. I would really appreciate it. And I'll see you in the next one.